Flat earthers claim that globers were brainwashed. When pressed with the question, "Why do you believe in the globe Earth?" the average Joe may not be able to provide convincing evidence on the spot to substantiate. As a result, he or she may listen to a flat earther articulate their talking points, while standing wide-eyed in shock. Totally speechless, unable to craft up a rebuttal. While the flat earther spews their misinformation, a clueless glober may feel taken away by what may seem like immense scientific knowledge by the former. But are flat earthers really the smarter ones? Do they really hold special secret knowledge that globers cannot refute? Let's see. If the same scenario were to occur on a well-studied glober who has actually done their research, that glober will be much less likely to fall for the flat earth propaganda. They know what pieces of evidence the flat earthers may bring up and how to counter them. As Professor Dave explains once stated, flat earth priests lure victims in by telling them they've been brainwashed. Brainwashed by whom? By the globe earth deception, of course. Flat earth priests convince their duped gullible followers that mainstream science is lying to them and the small niche flat earth community somehow has the truth. If this doesn't raise a red flag in your head, then nothing will. For this is the typical modus operandi of a cult. Flat earthers may also ridicule globers for believing what they were taught in school. In describing globers, flurfers often throw phrases such as brainwashed, sheeple, sheep, gullible, indoctrinated, trust the science, memorize and regurgitate, or wake up. Whereas in describing themselves, flurfers often use key words and phrases such as enlightened, skeptic, free thinker, critical thinker, etc. Anybody who values their own dignity would rather be associated with the latter terms than the former, so these loaded words may pull the heartstrings of a glober to get them to join Team Flat Earth. That glober has been manipulated into questioning their perception of reality, or even their very own sanity. This technique is known as gaslighting. What better way to convince a sane human being of such a ridiculous, ludicrous, nonsensical pseudoscientific rubbish claim such as flat earth than to gaslight them? In essence, flat earth non-theory is built on lies, trickery, sophistry, deception, and fallacious logic. Yes, fallacious logic. Flat earth sophistry cannot be discussed without talking about the strawman fallacy. Flurfers often describes the globe Earth model as a tilting wobbling space pair spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. The implications here are that the Earth is not only spinning at mind-boggling speeds too fast not to be felt, but also wobbling out of control like a spinning top you get at the toy store. They think globers actually believe this nonsense. The truth of the matter is, this highly distorted, ludicrous, ridiculous version of the globe model is much easier to refute than the actual scientific model. For starters, the Earth only wobbles about 4 inches per year. A complete axial precession takes about 26,000 years. For the sake of brevity, the evidence of this phenomenon will be discussed in detail in another video. But long story short, Polaris was not always the North Star. That title once belonged to the star Vega. Another supposed proof for the flat Earth offered by debaters is the fact that we do not feel the Earth spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. If it feels stationary, then it must be stationary. After all, our senses never fail us. Right? Wrong. Miles per hour are not an accurate way to measure rotational velocity. Rotational velocity is better measured in revolutions per minute. How many complete cycles does a spinning object complete in 1 minute? Picture a giant wheel with a circumference of 1,000 miles. That wheel is rolling down a giant highway, traveling 1,000 miles each hour. Since it covers a distance of 1,000 miles each hour and its circumference is 1,000 miles, that wheel takes an hour to make a full revolution about its axis. It's traveling at a linear velocity of 1,000 miles per hour, but it rotates at 1 revolution per hour, or 1/60th RPM. Now, picture a bigger wheel with a circumference of 10,000 miles. It's still traveling down at the same speed as the smaller wheel, 1,000 miles per hour. But each hour, the wheel only covers 1/10 of a rotation, this giving it a rotational speed of 1/10 of a revolution per hour, or 1/600th of a revolution per minute. That is not a very fast ride in spite of its horizontal displacement. Sounds about right, no? Then picture an even bigger wheel, one with a circumference of 20,000 miles. At 1,000 miles per hour, that wheel covers 1/20th of a revolution per hour, or roughly 0.00083 rpm. Notice a pattern here? The bigger the wheel, the longer it takes to complete one revolution, given the same linear tangential velocity. And the bigger the wheel, the slower the angular, or rotational, velocity. For the final example, let's use a wheel with a circumference of 24,000 miles. That's roughly the circumference of the Earth at the equator. The Earth's equatorial circumference is actually 24,903 miles, but for easier math, let's use the value of 24,000. If that wheel is rolling down at 1,000 miles per hour, then each hour it completes 1/24th of a revolution. It takes 24 hours to complete a full cycle. Let's do some simple division to derive RPM. 1/24 revolutions per hour, divide that by 60. You get 0.000694 RPM. That's not a very big value. A carnival ride rotating at 0.000694 RPM would appear to be stationary and motionless, just like our planet appears to be stationary and motionless. Would you pay to ride a UFO ride that takes a full day to make one rotation? Sounds pretty boring. Even if we were to compensate the 901 miles of circumference we omitted for the equations, we still get roughly the same angular velocity. The Reunion Tower in Dallas, Texas, used to spin once every hour, or 24 times faster than the Earth, and it was home to several restaurants since its opening in the late 70s. Guests have comfortably enjoyed a glass of wine and T-bone steak without becoming dizzy, and without the wine flinging out of the glass. Therefore, if flat earthers want to be intellectually honest, they must concede that the human body is not geared to feel the kinematics that they copiously attack. Another supposed proof for the flat earth is a strawman fallacy. Flat Earth priests would cite the precession of the Earth's axial inclination and pretend it happens much faster than it actually does. Their aim is to invoke a picture of a spinning top toy, dancing about a table, its point rapidly wobbling. They argue,
"We don't see the stars zipping and zooming randomly in the sky. We see the same night sky night after night."
Their argument is fallacious, because the so-called wobble of the Earth's axis actually takes 26,000 years. This wobble was discovered in 1891 by an astronomer named Seth Carlo Chandler. This phenomena is corroborated by observed slight precession of stars, as well as by ancient architecture and star maps that suggest Polaris was not always the northern star. More details in another video. Hopefully this video helps you, so next time a flat earther tries to brainwash you, you'll be better equipped to resist. As Alexander Hamilton once stated, those who stand for nothing, fall for anything. Remember, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Warning, jump scare ahead. Headphone users beware.